YouTube. I'm back. It's been a while. It's been a slow release cycle here at the beginning of 2021. But last night the beta testers got a new build, a minor updates build, 2021 4.11.1. Early access commented in the email and onto our Discord channel that it was definitely, and there's our first disengagement. All right, wanted to go right towards that car. That this was not the neural net build that Elon had tweeted about. Here's the release notes on the FSDBeta 8.2 that was released early this morning. As you can see, it's labeled 2021.4.11.1 and minor fixes. This is definitely not the build we were hoping for. V9, beta 9 I guess they're going to call it, with the 360 stitch video in the neural net. So we have minor fixes, full self-driving beta, and driving visualization improvements are the 3 items listed here on these release notes. And for those of you that like to see the hash number, there it is again. So FSDBeta 8.2 2021.4.11.1 with a hash of C4 A54E10976D. And then here's the release notes again. Up to that screen. See what it looks like. So I've got the Memorial Park Drive programmed in here right now. We've done this a couple times. It's got some good kind of rural driving scenarios. Not really rural, suburban. Let's see what we get. Flashing yellow light. It's used the blinker here in the past and slowed down appropriately. Definitely sees blinkers on and it sees the flashing yellow. Flashing yellow rendered with a nice speed there. Yeah, I think they did that good. Got a pedestrian running on the side of the road here. This is a little good. It needs to scoot over a little bit. All right, there. It crossed over the yellow line to go around that runner. Got another runner up here, and this runner's going the opposite direction. Okay, he kind of peeled off to the right a little bit. That's good. Two pedestrian interactions on the road. I think I would have preferred it to slow down a little bit more for that pedestrian, but you know, it did cross the double yellow line in order to give them room. So that logic is good. Maybe a little bit of speed tweaking to come. Here on the drawbridge, it's got the green lights rendered appropriately. These guardrails for the stop signs are just being inappropriately rendered as lights. So even though I haven't been posting a lot of videos on this build since, I don't know, kind of, I guess it was early February maybe. I've been driving a lot. It's been doing okay. I don't have any huge complaints. I wasn't seeing any step changes or any learning happening. But I was happy with the way it was driving. It did a pretty good job getting me to and from locations. Some interventions on the unprotected lefts. All right, now we're taking a right turn here. It's got a green light, and it can just proceed without even slowing down because we had a protected turn there and it did just fine. All right. Back to what I was saying, you know, so I just didn't see any need to continue to post videos on the same build without a whole lot of change or anything I noticed differently. I don't want to wear you guys out with videos just for the fact of posting them. That's not my mission here. All right, pedestrian crosswalk with those stop signs in the middle, kind of rendering them as cones. That's the same. A little bit of a weave there. All right, kind of this double layered stoplight scenario. I've got green lights at one layer, second layer did pretty good job. This intersection, it wants to go straight through it. I've got a green light to the right and a stop sign here. A little bit of a flashing. Okay, now it's rendered as green. Okay, now I've got green and I'm going to proceed straight across. This is a school zone right here. Lights are showing as rendered out. School's not in session at this moment. The lights are not flashing. So it's just a scenario where it was showing them just as inoperative street lights. All right, here on this street is kind of the type of street where you look for the lane centering here without cars parked. Does it try to weave over to the right? And it looks like it's doing a fairly good job. A little bit of a slowdown for that crossing traffic just in front. That was good. And coming up here in about 2 blocks is the flashing yellow lights that I've gotten varied responses from the car on. Sometimes it slows down a lot. Sometimes it proceeds without even slowing down. We'll see what happens here. They are flashing yellow, and I'm seeing red up there. See that? Flashing red, which in the past it's treated as, and then there was yellow. Okay, there's nobody behind me, and it stopped almost completely at that flashing yellow. Okay, and here's a single flashing yellow, and this one, it hasn't had the same response before. Maybe it's because it's got one light, but it is flashing yellow and red, and there's nobody behind me again, and it, okay, I'm gonna mark that. That's not the right behavior. But definitely the neural net rendering some of the red is probably why it was doing that. I think I got that out of some of the comments previously. That would not be a safe scenario to slow down that hard at a flashing yellow if you had an aggressive driver that was right behind you, tailing you a little bit. Okay, so it's turning right on red here, and it's creeping for visibility here, and it did a pretty good job getting around that corner. There was no oncoming traffic to deal with, but the pace of the creep felt pretty good. All right, this intersection is kind of a funny one. Not this one right yet, but the one that's upcoming. So it's doing a stop here with a turn, some pedestrians on the sidewalk. But this one, in the past, it thought it had a stop sign. You see there's a stop sign over here to the left, but that is not my stop sign. That's for the road over here. But it didn't completely stop, so I think it was just being cautious there. I'll have to look to see if it said stopping for traffic control. But that was good. It just kind of yielded a little bit there. It didn't do a complete stop. All right, now we've got another single flashing yellow here. Let's see if I look on here, if it's, okay, I did see some red there. Okay, there's somebody behind me. Okay, it slowed down to 23, but it kind of slowed down late. If it was going to slow, it needed to do it before it was in the middle of the intersection. A nice occluded speed sign there, but it did have it properly labeled, so that's good. Traffic here that stopped. Definitely had mapped stoplight interaction there, because it said stopping for traffic control before the light was even in range, so that was definitely mapped information. And the light turned green. Looks like the colors are appropriate there. pedestrian signs. Not seeing anything unusual there. Just the... Alright, we've got a intersection where he's trying to turn left, but he was waiting, so it was just to proceed through green there. Alright, this car in front is turning right. It should accelerate quickly once he's out of the way. That kind of annoys me sometimes, where it's a little slower than the human on accelerating after a car turns in front of you. This road construction here on the sides of the road have changed over the last few weeks, so it's pretty much all off to the side. Doesn't look like it's going to be an interaction here. Just about another block to go till we're at our destination, then I'll flip it around. But you can see the road construction here on the right and how it's being rendered just as cones. Alright, and it's slowing down for the destination at the park there. Alright, so that was the first half of the drive on the new Beta 8.2. I think other than the first kind of swerve right into oncoming traffic wasn't a great start, but that was probably the largest interaction, and a little bit of slow response at the flashing yellow light. I'd say that was probably not the right behavior either. So those two things are what I noticed. Let me reset the destination, and we'll do the second drive. All right, got a return destination set. Here's a tight look back to the left turn with quite a bit more oncoming traffic than I've had to deal with here in the past. And you can't see very much to the left here. Well, there you go. If I hold the finger here, you can kind of see it's kind of a Y type of an intersection here. So it's now clear to the left, and it's clear to the right. So it's clear if it wants to go. And all right, it paused for no reason, and now it needs to go quickly if it's going to go. Okay, I had to hit the accelerator for an oncoming car. All right, so that was a little hesitant. It looked like it found the opportunity to go, but then once it was in the road, it started rethinking it. So that's that commit behavior we're looking to improve upon. It seemed to wait for the right hole, though, so I'd say that was an improved decision making. Just the commit. Pedestrian here on the right, and a stopping intersection with a left turn lane. Looks like the left turn lane's appropriately mapped and visualized there. Correct light signals. Don't see the green arrows showing at all in the visualization. Pedestrian crossings showing up as cones. It looks like we're going straight through this intersection, appropriate intersection lights are showing. Kind of crossed the yellow line there a little bit in that turn. I think as a human, I do that occasionally too, but you don't see the Tesla crossing yellow lines very often unless it's going around a pedestrian or a biker. Maybe it was avoiding those parked cars a little bit. Here's a good example of a road with a parking lane over on the right side, and it's definitely using the left side now a little bit more here. It's definitely not in the center of the road. You can see that on the visualization too. All right, flashing yellow again. This is the single flasher. And it showed a red there, and now as soon as it saw that red, it hit the brakes too late. Yeah, that's not what's going on there. Okay, I've got a Y intersection here, so you can see it's marked as a Y. This left side is the half where we came from on the previous route. Oh, I'm sorry, it's turning right here. I was thinking it was going through that Y. I think I've done that before, not looking at the route. All right, so it's got to go around these cars, and it's got a nice mapped path there that gives me the confidence it's going to do it. An oncoming car here, so it needs to get to the right a little bit. Hey, and it did pretty good there. It got over to the right side where the stop line was. Okay, I'm clear left and right if it goes. Really slow there. Once you're in the intersection, you might as well go for it because you've already committed. But the lateral path just went under the yellow. That's fine. The lateral path was good. It's just the accelerate on that line I'm looking for. Okay, some more yellow lights here. If it doesn't get these right, I'm going to take another snapshot. Looking closely, I see red being rendered. Yep. Red. Okay, but it didn't slow down too much that time. It only went down to 27. That's fine, but it was definitely red. And there's red again. Red, rendering red. There's a car there. I'm tapping the accelerator only because that's not the right behavior. Okay, so flashing yellows still have some issue. Multiple examples on this drive. School zone again, same one as before. If you can see out in the distance, that school zone sign is occluded by that oak tree right there, and now it comes into view right there. It's not flashing, it just shows as these stoplights. So I'm not confident that logic is built in. A couple cones over here, and it's stopping for traffic control here for this intersection, but the wheel's acting a little jittery, and this projected path is probably why it's kind of unsure. This is a broad intersection here. Let me show you. It's kind of got this very wide open center section here with all the lanes oncoming from different angles. But the correct path is about right. It needs to go across and a little bit to the left. All right, see how it does. All right, we're clear. And it picked the right lane, so that was good. Another another pedestrian being rendered over on the right. That was another good intersection. Not a lot of interaction with crossing traffic on this drive, really, so I'm not really getting any unprotected lefts, or other than that one coming out of the beginning of the drive. Taking a left turn up at this intersection. Blinkers on. It looks like it's protected with the green arrow, but we're just showing a solid green. But it's obviously treating it as a protected. It understands that it had the arrow, otherwise it would have said waiting our turn or checking for visibility. Sun's coming up here in Jacksonville on this bridge, so the brightness might give a little bit of contrast on this dark screen here as we recross the bridge. It's mapping those pilings there as people. They were showing up as yellow. That was interesting. I don't know if you can see these occasional little yellow blocks on the right. I think that was how pedestrians were mapped occasionally. Stopping for traffic control just popped up, but there is no stop sign there, so I'm not sure what that was about. Another school zone here. Just rendered stoplights. Flashing yellow warning about the upcoming curve to slow down. It's just showing up as a stoplight. And then the flashing yellow here, showing as red. It's kind of a combination of red and yellow rendering. Alright, and we're coming up on our destination that are programmed here. So that was just basically an out and back to Memorial Park here in Jacksonville, Florida, on the west side of the St. Johns River, if those of you are familiar with the area. Alright, well, I don't know that I noticed anything different from 8.1. On this exact same route, you guys can look back if you want onto the previous video. It felt like the behaviors were within, I guess I would say, normal randomness based on the traffic interactions it had to have. I did like the way it went around the joggers there at the beginning. A little bit fast, but I thought the projected path around them was good. The very first interaction where the car swerved into oncoming traffic was a little disappointing. Yeah, so I think I'm just excited to wait on this Beta 9 Elon's been tweeting about, talking about 360 videos stitched and available to the neural network. You know, he called it a step change. I can only trust his words to say it's going to make a huge deal. I can't imagine it wouldn't be a huge deal having 360 video available rather than patching together all of the camera locations. So if they can get the labeling done and the input into the perception and the neural nets making decisions is a surround image, that has to be better, and definitely a better way of visual perception. Elon's been tweeting a little bit about how Tesla is solving a real world AI problem and not many people are aware of it. I'm thinking that's what he means, is, you know, 360 video perception, and then with Dojo eventually doing automated labeling. All right, let me know what you think in the comments. I know it wasn't a whole lot to look at as far as changes, but it is a new version. You got to see the release notes, and appreciate your comments below. Hope you guys have a great day.